Which is real? The Roman 2 and Roman 11 festers, legends vanished, erased. The Roman 2 and Roman 11 Imperium silenced, legions silenced by the emperor himself. Which is real? The Roman 2 and Roman 11 festers. And the void does not unravel the forgive greatest threat to the 41st millennium. Who are the lost Primarchs? Why was their legacy buried? The answers lie where the void whispers, and the void does not forgive. The emperor's silence is a vault. On the golden throne he breathes in fragments, his voice a shadow. 2 Primarchs vanish, no records, no relics, no war. Why? Their absence is not accident. The Imperium's foundations tremble when truths are buried. If their erasure was deliberate, what heresies lie entombed? The galaxy's order hinges on a lie. To unearth it is to unmake stability. The void does not forget, and it hungers for the truth. What waits in the gaps between history's seams? The answer could shatter the throne itself. The Black Library's dust-choked shelves guard a silence sharper than any blade. 2 names vanish from every record, their forges cold, their legions unremembered, not lost, erased. The Imperium's chronicles are a mosaic of omissions, each gap a calculated wound. Why would the Adeptus Historia redact entire stars from the sky? The answer festers in the library's deepest vaults where truth is not kept but buried. These Primarchs were not failures. Their absence is a wound sutured with lies. What if their legacy holds the key to a heresy not yet spoken? The Emperor's shadow stretches long, but even shadows have edges. What waits beyond the edges of his sanctioned history? The Black Library whispers, the Inquisition listens, and the galaxy burns in ignorance. What truth unearthed could make the throne itself recoil? The void does not forget, and it hungers for the truth. What waits in the gaps between history's seams? The answer could shatter the throne itself. The archives of the Imperium breathe silence where names should roar. Dust clings to the hollow shelves of the Archivum Mechanicum, where the Roman 2 and Roman 11 legions records were not lost erased. No charred pages, no shattered data slates, a void polished as a blade's edge. The Codex Astartes, Guilliman's hymn to order, skips over their absence as if the void itself had been scribed into existence. What warlord, what heretic, demands such total negation? The astronomic and psychic tides, channeled by the Emperor's will or its shadow, flow unbroken, yet these 2 names do not ripple through its currents. Even the ecclesiarchy's hymns, which weave the divine into dogma, omit their passing. A legion's worth of warriors does not vanish. Their absence is a wound sutured with iron. Consider the weight of the second founding. Guilliman's Codex reshaped the Space Marines into 20 chapters, each bound to a single homeworld. Yet 2 slots in this grand design remain uncarved, as if the Emperor's own hand had hesitated. What truth gnaws at the roots of this erasure? The Legion's homeworld's names now unspoken still orbit unclaimed, their forges cold, their people where are they? The Ordo Xeno's files, which catalog every alien threat, contain no mention of what might have consumed them. No battle-scarred survivors. No relics, only the scent of something ancient, something that does not decay. The void hungers, but why? What secret, if unearthed, would make the Imperium's spine crack? The Emperor's children were not meant to be erased. They were meant to burn as stars, and yet in the silence between the lines of history, something stirs, a pattern. A debt unpaid, a shadow that outlives even gods. Malcador's shadow stretches beyond the Inquisition's iron fist. He did not merely hunt heretics, he buried truths. Fragments in asterisk the crimson scales asterisk, in asterisk the unbound asterisk speak of legions that vanish not to war, but to silence. Their knowledge, the texts whisper, could unravel the Imperium's brittle spine. The 2 lost Primarchs are not ghosts. Their echoes scar the Codex. One forged a language that bent reality, the other mapped the Emperor's own hidden chambers. Malcador erased them not for failure but for what they knew, the Inquisition's absolute authority, a key. A means to smother any spark of that forbidden fire. What did they learn? The Emperor's body is a tomb. His mind, a labyrinth of secrets. The lost legions glimpsed the cracks in his divinity. They saw the cost of his 1,000-year sleep, and Malcador, that grim architect, chose oblivion over revelation. The grief is not in their erasure, it is in what their absence protects. The Imperium thrives on lease-off unity, of purpose, of a god who never sleeps. But the two knew the truth: the Emperor is not dead, he is dormant, and some doors, once opened, do not close. The Inquisition's silence is a wound, a scar over a question the galaxy cannot ask. What if the Imperium's foundation is not stone but a lie? The two lost Primarchs were not just leaders, they were mirrors. And the Imperium fears what it might see reflected in their absence. The Astronomicon burns not with divine fire, but with stolen breath. 1,000 Psychers die each day to fuel its light, their minds crushed into the Emperor's prison. What if the thing they sustain is not a shield but a shroud? The lost Primarchs knew. Their legions held whispers of a truth, that the Emperor's mind is no god's, but a wound dressed in starlight. The Cicatrix maledictum did not shatter the galaxy by accident, it buried it, a wound within a wound. When the two missing Primarchs refused to kneel, the Imperium did not kill them. It erased them along with their legions, their records, their very names. Why? Because their knowledge was a key. A key that could unlock the greatest secret of all, that the Emperor's power is a house of glass, and the Astronomicon. It is both lock and guardian, a psychic monolith built on a lie. If the galaxy were whole, if the lost legions returned, their combined will could pierce the veil. They might see what the Imperium cannot bear to reveal, that the Emperor's mind is not infinite, that his light is borrowed. That his throne is a sarcophagus, the silence is not a failure, it is a victory. The Cicatrix ensures no voice can rise loud enough to challenge the lie. The two lost Primarchs were not just mirrors. They were warnings, and the Imperium, in its cold calculus, chose to bury the warnings deeper than the dead. What remains is a galaxy split not by chaos, but by fear. A fear that the truth, once spoken, would unravel the Emperor's shroud and leave the Imperium blind. The Golden Throne holds an Emperor neither living nor dead. His silence stretches like a wound. If he shaped the Imperium's bones, why do two Primarchs vanish from its marrow? The Inquisition's archives burn no records, yet their silence is not absence, it is erasure. Did the Emperor's hand, even in decay, strike them from memory to starve heresy of its sharpest blades? Or does the Inquisition guard not a secret, but a lepalist for millennial truth and fabrication bleed into the same shadow? The throne's golden gaze never wavers, the Inquisition's edicts never falter, and the galaxy, in its hunger for certainty, swallows both. What if the lost Primarchs knew the cost of knowing? What if their erasure was not failure but the final act of a lesson? The Emperor does not speak. The Inquisition does not answer. And the question festers: who is more dangerous, the truth they hid or the void they left behind? The silence is a scar. The Imperium's architects did not merely forget the excised. Primarchs Roman II and Roman XI were not lost, they were unmade, their names blotted from the Codex, their legions reabsorbed like ink dissolved in water. The Inquisition's archives hold whispers, reports sealed with the black ship sigil, detailing psychic storms that swallowed entire fleets, the screams of worlds erased from the web. This was no accident. The Astronomicon, that fragile beacon guiding humanity through the void, thrives on sacrifice. Not just the Emperor's mind, but other Sothers' asterisk like his asterisk. The Primarch's erasure was not failure, it was design. Their minds, vast and unbroken, would have fractured the Astronomicon's fragile lattice. To preserve the Imperium, the Emperor had to become its sole architect. Two sons were made collateral. The Inquisition's role was not to hunt heresy, but to bury truth. The Emperor's silence is not death, it is selection. What if the Astronomicon's light dims when the void remembers what was taken? What if the lost Primarch's ghosts still pulse, their absence a wound in the fabric of the Imperium? The galaxy moves on, blind to the price paid at its foundation, but the void keeps accounts. And the truth, when it rises, does not ask permission. It burns. The Imperium's silence is not absent seat, is a vault. Two sons vanished, their names blotted from the stars. What did they know that their erasure became law? The heresy's first wound was not in Horus' betrayal, but in the knowledge left unarmed. The Codex Astartes, that brittle hymn to order, lacks their voices, strategies unspoken, tactics unborn. The Emperor's shadow stretches long, yet even his whispers to Gilliman feel hollow. A god, a man. Or a cipher, his truths diced and buried. The void does not forget, it hoards. The Imperium's spine is a scaffold of omissions. If the lost Primarchs held secrets that could unmake this age of blueprints of war, or worse, revelations of the thrones fragile within every silent page, is a shroud over collapse. The heresy was not the first storm, it was the echo of a deeper silence. And if truth is a fire, then the Imperium is kindling. What else smolders beneath the gilded dust? What else was stolen not to hide but to prevent asterisk? The cost of survival is a ledger of ghosts. And the Emperor, he does not answer, he never has. The Black Library's breach by Ozek Araman unearthed whispers. What did the lost Primarchs know that the Imperium fears? A truth sharp enough to cleave the galaxy's fragile order. Their names expunged not for sin, but to bury knowledge too volatile to wield. Did they glimpse the Emperor's silence as a void, not a vow? The Imperium's erasure is no accident, it is a dam. And dams are built to hold back storms. What storm stirs beneath, you decide, challenge this, shatter it. The truth is a weapon, who should aim it? The Black Library's breach by Ozek Araman unearthed whispers. What did the lost Primarchs know that the Imperium fears? A truth sharp enough to cleave the galaxy's fragile order. Their names expunged not for sin, but to bury knowledge too volatile to wield. Did they glimpse the Emperor's silence as a void, not a vow? The Imperium's erasure is no accident, it is a dam. And dams are built to hold back storms. What storms